Greetings, my name is Chuck Kelly, and I have the pleasure to interview Mr. Frank Auciello on May 15th, 2019 at his home in Glendale, Ohio, near Cincinnati, at his home that he has been in the family for 3 generations on Jefferson Avenue. So, Mr. Auciello we are proud and honored to meet you today, and he is a World War II Navy veteran. So please, for the record, Mr. Auciello, can you say your name and your birthday?
Frank Auciello, January the 10th, 1924.
And where were you born?
Lynch, Kentucky.
Before we talk about your war experiences, could you just tell us a little bit about your upbringing, your parents? Where were your parents from? What kind of family did you come from? Numbers of kids, and what did your parents do, and all that stuff.
Well, my dad bought this jewelry business from another Italian that wanted to go back to Italy. He was retiring, and he kept that down in Kentucky, which was a coal mining town, and he stayed there until they chased him out. Everything was owned by the coal mining, and they needed a space where his shop was in, so they just moved him out, and we finally wound up moving to Cincinnati.
What was your dad's name and what was your mom's name?
My dad's name was Joseph, my mom's name was Beatrice.
And they themselves were immigrants from Italy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And how many children in your family?
4 boys.
4 boys. And what number were you in that?
I was second last.
Second last. So you were born in eastern Kentucky.
Yes.
Was there a hospital there that you were born at, or were you born at home?
No, they would. It was a very progressive little town. It had a hospital built, and the town was completely owned by U.S. Steel. So they owned the police department, fire department, and they kept everything up in shape. So.
Wow. What was it like growing up in that little town?
Well, it was only a town when it was completely filled. We had about 8,000 people, and it now has about 1,000 people. Everybody moved out.
Oh, really?
They took all the coal out of the mountains and left.
No. What was there to do around Lynch, Kentucky?
Well, not a whole lot. We didn't.
Do you have a movie theater, or did you?
We did. It burnt down, and so we didn't get to see movies anymore. But everything revolved around coal.
But your parents had a jewelry store.
Yes.
Was that successful? Or during the Depression, though, it must have been kind of rough, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, nobody had any money back then. I guess the average pay back in those days was about $10 a week.
What kind of jewelry did your mom and dad sell?
Oh, various watches, diamonds, and clocks, different things like that.
What was the name of the shop?
Lynch Jewelry Store.
Is it still there?
No, nothing's there anymore. Everything is gone.
Wow. Any other memories you want to share from childhood? What was the name of your grade school and high school?
Well, it was Lynch Grade School and Lynch High School. We weren't very fancy back then.
Did you play any sports? You look pretty athletic. Were you in the football team, or?
No, I was too little. No, I never played any sports.
You were too little?
Yeah.
Anything else?
And about the end, he didn't have indoor plumbing.
Where did you go to the bathroom? Did you have indoor plumbing?
No, we had outdoor plumbing.
That's fancy.
Yeah.
Was it an outhouse? What was that like?
It wasn't very comfortable.
Did you have a well or a pump, or how did you get water for the house?
All the houses had water in them.
They had running water,
Yes.
but not a...
Just running cold water, no hot water.
How often would you take a bath or a shower?
If we were lucky, once a week.
Wow!
Yeah.
Dad, how did you guys keep warm in the winter? When you were in bed in the winter, how'd you keep warm?
Well, one way was to heat bricks and wrap them up and take them to bed with you and put them in the bed. We slept three in the bed back in those days.
Wow.
And it was pretty cold in the winter.
What would your mom cook some good Italian food?
Oh yeah, all Italian food, yes.
Like what? What would she cook?
Oh, everything Italian. Spaghetti and I forget all the stuff she cooked, but it was Italian.
Did you speak Italian at home?
Yes. Yes, unfortunately I've forgotten it all.
It'll probably come back to you. Did you go, was there a Catholic church down there?
Yes, they had a real nice church that they built.
The Italians built?
Well, Liz built it.
What was the name of that?
Church of the Resurrection.
Neat. Any other questions about childhood? High school?
High school, we stopped here.
Okay, yeah. How old were you when you moved away from Lynch, Kentucky?
Well, I was about, I guess 14. I started school at Roger Bacon.
14. So just in 1941, huh?
No.
Let me ask you real quick though about Lynch. What was it like? Were there black people there?
Oh yes, we had.
Okay, so
We had all kind of people, all foreigners.
oh, there were blacks, Italians, other immigrants.
Oh yeah, Polacks, hunkies, all kind of people.
All right. Was that and people were nice to each other? What was life like down there?
That was pretty nice. Pretty nice. We only had 2 policemen.
We have 2 policemen. Wow,
Yeah.
that's living. And your brothers, are they? You've got 3 brothers. Are they still alive or?
No, they're all deceased.
Okay. So you moved up. Why did you move up here when you were 14?
Well, my dad had a house up here, and when they closed up his shop, we just decided to move up here.
And you moved to
He moved to Corryville.
Corryville. Okay, Corryville. And then you immediately started going to Roger Bacon.
Yes.
So tell us about that. Well, you were about 14 when World War II broke out, right?
Right.
What did they say about it in school? Were you aware of what was going on? Did you hear about the battles? Did you hear about the
Well,
men?
we did, and as soon as we got old enough, we all joined the service.
Okay. So were you drafted or you volunteered?
Well, our draft was coming up, so we all volunteered.
So tell us about that. Was that your senior year at Roger Bacon? Did you
Yep.
what did your parents say about that?
Well, they weren't too happy with it, but strangely enough, my dad came over here by himself when he was a teenager. He came over, there were relatives over here, came over here.
From Italy?
Yes. And when the war broke out, they called him back to Italy because being an Italian citizen, they called him back to go into service.
Wow.
So as soon as the war was over, he bailed out and came back to the United States.
Wow. So during World War II, he went back to Italy?
Yeah, they made him come back. They said, you're a citizen, you come back. And I tell people he went back long enough to lose the war and then come back.
So what was it, how long was your dad gone for? Was he for the whole war, for 3 or 4 years? In the early 40s?
I don't know when they called him back. I don't know how long he was there. But it wasn't very long because they lost the war, so they just disbanded.
What did he do for the Italian army?
I really don't know. I don't know what he did for them. He helped them lose the war.
Not much, apparently.
I didn't know that. What would have happened, I mean, he was living in America, what would have happened if he just didn't go back to Italy?
Well, I guess they'd have called him a draft dodger and come after him.
So he had a sense of honor, though. That's admirable.
Yeah.
So tell us, though, about you volunteering. Do you remember when you volunteered? Was that in 1944 or 1945?
43.
Oh, 43.
Yeah. I was out of school a year. Out of high school.
Oh, did you graduate when you were like 16 years old then, or?
He was born in 24.
I don't really know.
He'd have been 19.
I don't know how old I was.
Oh, I'm sorry, 1924. Okay, I missed. You were born 1924?
Yes.
Auciello? Okay. I'm sorry, I was thinking 1927. So, oh, you were okay. You graduated, and then you signed up. Where did you sign up? Did you have to go down to Cincinnati?
Right. We went down to main post office. Signed up down there.
You took the bus down there or the train?
Yeah, bus. And we went over to Kentucky to sign in. That's actually where we left. Kentucky.
That's where you're to report for duty?
Yeah.
When was that, do you think? That was 1943 still?
43, yeah.
What month? Do you remember?
It would be in there somewhere.
Okay, I'll figure it out. So 1943, you signed up for the war. What was that like? Were you scared? Were you nervous? Were you...
Halfway. April, I think April we went in April, and I was there. I think I was in the service 3 days short of 3 years.
Oh, that's a long time. Okay, so from Kentucky, where did you go? Did you go to, what's it, like a boot, in the Navy, it's...
Boot camp.
Boot camp.
Great Lakes.
Oh, they shipped you up by train up to the Great Lakes Station.
Right.
That's in Illinois, right? Near Chicago?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Let me ask you then, Mr. Auciello, why did you sign up for the Navy?
Well, back then I could have gone to any service because the war was just started and they needed people everywhere. And I just wanted to know where I was going to eat and where I was going to sleep.
Were you a good swimmer?
No.
Still can't swim.
Still can't swim. So what did your friends, did you go down, were a lot of your friends joining up?
Oh yeah, the whole neighborhood was gone.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Did some of those boys not come back?
A few, yeah.
So tell us then, you went up to the Great Lakes. That was training or boot camp, right?
Right.
That was like April of 43.
Yeah.
How long is that, like a couple months were you there?
Well, we qualified for school. We were in engineering school for 3 months.
What did you learn?
We learned how to keep the ship running, took care of the ship, and kept it operating.
What was your job exactly? What did you learn how to do?
take care of the engines, take care of the machinery, make sure that all the machines ran right.
Were they diesel? Was it diesel engine?
No, it was coal-fired.
Coal-fired?
No, oil-fired.
Oil.
Oil. Oil.
So it's kind of stink, a lot of smoke?
Yeah.
You get dirty?
A little.
Okay. So you learned. So what was your official job? Were you, what was your title? Was that like a...
Engine room engineer.
Engine room engineer?
Yeah.
Okay. So you were there a few months and you learned. Were you, where were you living? Are there some college dorms up there? I forget. Weren't you living on a college campus or?
Oh, while we were at school?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we lived right on the base.
On the base.
Right on the base.
What was that like? Was the chow pretty good?
It wasn't too bad.
Was it Italian food?
No.
And what was life like? Did you have to wake up? Was there reveille right at 5 a.m.? And
Oh yes.
you have to get up and get yelled at,
Yeah.
make your bed, and then go, okay. Anything? Shoot a rifle?
We didn't get into it too much. We did get some, but we didn't do a whole lot of that.
And the war was going on. So that was maybe summer of 1943.
Right.
Did you write? What was your family doing? Were they writing to you? Were they worried about you?
Oh yeah.
Did you have a girl back home or anything?
No, I never had a steady.
And you did meet. How did you? Well, we'll get to that. But you met your wife later on, didn't you? After the war.
We did what?
You met your wife later on
yes.
after the war.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So, any other questions, guys, you can think of, or any other thing you want to ask?
So why did you choose the Navy over Marines or Army or whatever?
Wanted to know where he was going to eat.
Because I knew where I was going to eat and where I was going to sleep.
On a ship.
Yeah, right.
Did you make some good friends when you were training?
Oh yeah, some.
So anything else you can remember about that you want to share with us? What were the commanding officers like? What were the sergeants like? Were they?
Oh, some of them were nice and some of them were not so nice.
Yelled at you all the time?
Yeah.
So, okay then, what happened after boot camp? Where did they send you?
Well, they sent us out to California waiting to see where they were going to put us, and
Okay.
that's when they were building the ships and all, and that's when they had this ship built. We just sailed out.
Where? San Diego? San Francisco?
San Pedro, right outside Los Angeles.
Long Beach.
Yeah.
So you took the train across the country from the Great Lakes to California, right?
Right.
Do you remember that? What was that like?
That was a long ride.
Take like 4 or 5 days, didn't
Yeah.
it? Take a train?
Yeah.
But what'd you guys do? Must have been, were there some good times? Was there playing cards and drinking, or?
A little bit of everything.
Were you nervous or scared or excited? Did you like it at all?
Oh, what's the like? You did what they told you.
See, the sense of duty.
Yeah.
So then you're in Long Beach. What did you do? What did you do there? More training or what?
Well, mostly we sat around waiting for something to do. Somewhere to put us.
Was there a base there? Did you stay in barracks or
Oh yeah, big.
Quonset huts or?
Yes, San Pedro's big naval station.
Did they allow you to go into what city is that near? L.A. or?
Los Angeles.
Did you go in and see Los Angeles?
Oh yeah, we'd go wherever we wanted as long as we had the money.
What was that like, being from Lynch, Kentucky? Suddenly you're in Los Angeles. Was it eye-opening?
Oh yes, big city.
Big city. Eating out at restaurants. You probably didn't eat out at restaurants much before that.
No.
A lot of shows. A lot of different people.
Yep.
So how long were you there then, in Long Beach?
Oh, we were there about 3 or 4 months. till our number came up and they put us on a ship and we went out to sea.
And the name of that ship was the
U.S. Camel.
USS Camel.
USS Camel.
Yeah.
So that was maybe then in the fall of 1943, would you say?
Right.
44, November 44, maybe?
In 1944 by then?
Yeah.
I'll figure.
Or actually it says January 1944.
So January 44, that would make sense.
Right.
Does that sound right, Dad?
We left New Year's Day,
New Year's Day.
and we stayed on that same ship for 30 months.
30 months! So, wow, okay, so you're on board the Camel, and you were down in the bowels of the ship, underneath, tending to the engines and all that stuff.
Right.
What was a typical day for you? You would wake up. Did you have shifts in the room? There were 3 shifts a day.
We were 4 hours on and 12 hours off.
4 hours on and 12 hours off?
Yeah.
What would you do during those 4 hours? What was specifically would you do? Do you remember offhand?
Well, try to entertain ourselves, play cards or whatever.
Play cards on the ship?
Yeah.
Were there movies? What else would you guys do? Talk about sweethearts back home?
I guess.
Listen to music?
Yeah.
What was the music like back then, Mr. Auciello? Was it any good? Was it rap?
No. I hate rap. I think it was great compared to what we got today.
Yeah. Would you listen to Frank Sinatra and all those people?
Right.
Yeah. Doris Day, all those people. When you were on duty for those 4 hours, what was it like? Were you were down by the engines? Was it really hot? Was it hard work?
Yeah. Well, we did our jobs and we were down there, except when they had general quarters, then everybody had to man their guns and stuff.
Oh, general quarters was kind of like an alert.
Right. Right.
So where did you were in the Pacific the whole time?
Yes.
What was the job of your ship? What was the ship supposed to be doing?
We carried gas and oil, and we fueled all small ships.
Gas and oil. You fueled small ships.
Yeah.
And okay. So tell us about that. Where would you carry the fuel and the oil? Were there big containers on board your ship?
Oh yeah. Well, that's all we were, was a big container, and we would follow the fleet from island to island because we carried gas, aviation gas. We would dump the gas on the island for the airplanes, and as soon as they get through with one island, we'd go to another island and follow them all the way across the Pacific till we got to Japan.
Wow. Do you remember some of the islands? Were you on some islands?
We didn't get, they wouldn't let us off on all the islands. We did get off on some, but
do you remember?
yeah, we were on there, Weetaka, Tarawa, and practically every island going across.
Do you remember those islands? What was it like?
Well, they got torn up. They got bombed, and after they tore them up, then we'd go in and fuel them, and then we'd go to another one.
Wow. Were you, so you had a really important job. You were, kind of the support for all the action. Were you involved in any action? Did you ever hear were you involved in any battles or the periphery of any battles?
A few.
What was that like?
Well, that wasn't very nice.
Can you tell us about that?
Well, I don't know. I guess you could think they were exciting while it was going on, but we came safely through. That's the main thing.
Sure. Were these sea battles? Were the Japanese? Were they dropping bombs on your ships, or were their ships firing on yours, or what?
Well, they were dropping bombs, but they weren't near us.
Thankfully. Did you see some bombs being dropped, or see some explosions, or hear something?
We could hear them. We could hear them. Yes.
Uh-huh. Weren't you nervous about that?
Yeah, sometimes.
Did you sleep okay?
Huh?
Did you sleep okay?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
If you guys would have been hit by a bomb, you would have gone up like a
Roman candle.
like a Roman Italian candle.
Yeah. Yeah, gas and oil. They looked for us.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Were there any Japanese submarines in the area that you were worried about or anything?
Well, we were always worried about them, but we didn't know where they were.
Wow. Man, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you remember about them shooting down a plane that was like coming for you
Well,
guys?
yeah. It's in that letter.
Yeah, that's it.
There was a plane that was coming for your ship and it was shot down?
Yeah.
Who shot it down? Was it your ship shot it down or some other ships?
Well, they think it was, yeah.
Wow. What kind of guns on your ship?
I was a gunner on a 20 millimeter, and we had a 5-inch gun, and that was it.
Were you trained on how to fire it?
Oh yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. Did you ever get to do that?
What, fire the gun?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Wow. You fired it so you had a lot of duties on the ship. You were in the engine room.
Yeah. That was my main job, was in the engine room, but as soon as they sounded general quarters, we had to run up topside and get on the gun.
Wow. So did you fire on some enemy planes, do you think?
Yes.
Wow.
4 of them. It was called a kamikaze suicide plane.
Wow. So you yourself fired on some kamikazes?
Yes.
Wow. That is something else. Wow. Anything else you remember about that, Mr. Auciello? How many times did that happen that you had to fire your gun?
Oh, it wasn't too often.
Yeah.
Wasn't too often.
And what was life like? Sherry, Mary, Laura, and his grandson. So sorry about that. I had a little technical difficulty. His grandson Nikolai Geraci, who is a
Sophomore in high school.
sophomore in high school. So your daughter Laura asked, what was it like sleeping on the ship? You slept in a bunk. You said it was pretty nice because it used to be a merchant marine ship.
Right.
How many guys were in a room sleeping? What was that like?
Well, we slept at the tail end of the ship. There was about 15 of us in our compartment. Most of them slept mid-ships. That was a bigger. They slept up where the food and the cooking and everything was. So.
Sure. What was the food like on the ship?
Well, it was pretty good most of the time. Some of the cooks weren't too good until we got some, till they got some other new guys on. Then we had some better food.
What was the food like? Do you remember some typical meals?
Oh well, American mostly, steaks and soups and whatever else.
So it wasn't bad.
No.
Did anybody get sick? Were a lot of soldiers getting seasick?
Oh, you get seasick every time you got on a ship. Seasickness is not like anything else. That's the only sickness where you want to die.
Is that right? You feel so bad.
Oh yeah, it was terrible. It was terrible, and it would last anywhere from on a week or two, and you couldn't do any work. It wouldn't make any difference if an officer wanted you to do something. You tell me you ain't gonna do it because you weren't feeling well. But yeah, that was a terrible sickness.
Was there anything? Did they give any medicine? Was there Dramamine back then, or anything like that?
Oh, they had it, but there wasn't nothing cured seasickness.
Is this when you were, is that when you were on the boat and seasick? Or?
That was just out on the deck. It was just some old cot.
On the deck of the boat?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Would soldiers be throwing up? Sailors be throwing up over the sides of the deck?
Oh my, yes. Oh yeah. When you're sick, you didn't care. You just wanted to die.
Oh, and he got really seasick.
Did that get better though? Did you get less seasick
Oh yeah.
as the war went on?
Yeah, you kind of outgrew it because I had never been seasick yet. Once.
Were there some bad storms at sea? Do you remember?
Oh yeah, we went through several typhoons. Yes, we went through.
Were you ever worried that your ship was gonna sink?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Would you be praying? Let me ask you, from a religious standpoint, were people allowed to go to church or mass on the ship? Was there a chaplain?
Our ship wasn't big enough. If we wanted to go to a mass, we would go to another ship, a larger ship that had masses.
Would you go to other ships?
Oh yes. Oh yes. Yeah.
How did that happen? When you were like on an island, you would just walk to another ship, or?
No, we had small ships on our ship that would transport us to a bigger ship.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And what would you do there? Was that like a little bit of R&R?
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
interesting. Were you on some real big ships? Any aircraft carriers or
Nope.
anything like that?
Nope.
Some battleships?
Nope. I was on this one ship for 30 months, and that was it.
Okay, so as you approached Japan, you kind of went island hopping, refueling ships and planes. Then where did you end up? Did you end up in Japan?
No, that would have been our next battle. We were a small island off of Japan, waiting to see if they were gonna invade it or not.
Oh, okay. So that was like in the summer of 1945. So you all were gearing up for the invasion of Japan. What island? Do you remember what island you were on?
Oh yeah. Oh, Iwo Jima the little island where we were
Okinawa?
anchored was Karamaretta,
Karamaretta.
which was just a cluster of islands off of Japan, waiting for the invasion.
What were those islands like? Were there still people living on them?
Natives,
Natives?
yeah.
Did you see any natives?
No, not very many.
Dad, did you go through the Panama Canal?
We did, yeah, when we came home. Yeah.
Did you see any Japanese prisoners of war on your ship or on the islands?
Nope. Nope. They said, well, it's in that letter. Two Japanese boarded our ship in the middle of the night. They wanted to go to America. So, well, they shot one and captured the other one, and the military took him away.
Were they soldiers?
Yeah.
So you were waiting then, that was summer of 1945. When did you hear that the war was over? How did you hear that?
Well, we had radios. Yes.
What was the mood like? What were people doing when they said the war was over?
Oh, we were happy. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Was there any screaming when the war was over?
They had, well, what was nice is we could turn all the lights on. Because at night you couldn't have any lights on. Otherwise the enemy would know where you were. But as soon as the war was over, all the ships were all lit up.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Was there partying? Were you allowed to go on the island and have a bunch of vino?
You weren't allowed to go anywhere. You just stayed where you were.
And then what did you do? When the war ended, then what? You were still in the Navy for how long? A year or so? Or?
I was in there, I guess, about 6 months longer than I should have been. They had a point system for going back home, and the married people had the most points, and then it got down to how long you were overseas and what your job was and all, and they wouldn't let me go home because I was on the ship when it was commissioned. So the officer said, no, says you know where everything is, and he said, you're not going to go home.
You were too valuable.
Yeah.
So then what'd you do for the next 6 months?
Just waited to get out.
What did the ship do? Did it stay around Japan, or?
No, we brought it home.
So you left Japan, or near Japan,
Yeah.
and came straight.
We came home and came through the Panama Canal and up the East Coast, and then they got it ready for decommissioning.
What was that like? What was the ride back like from Japan? Just everybody in a good mood? Was there a lot of partying and shouting? And
Oh yeah. It was much better than when we left. Yes, there was.
Did you smoke then?
What?
Did you smoke cigarettes then?
No, you weren't allowed to smoke on a ship.
Interesting. So you went up the East Coast. What city did you arrive in? New York or Boston or?
No, little town of what was that?
In Virginia?
Virginia.
Oh.
It was a Marine training camp.
Oh, right.
I'm trying to think. I can't think of the name of it.
Paris Island or Quantico or?
None that nice. No.
Then what did you do? So the ship was there. It was decommissioned.
Well, when we got discharge papers, they gave us so much money to get home, and that was it. And I came home. So,
How much money did they give you?
oh gosh. Back then, I guess it must have been about $30 or $40.
And that was they gave you that, and they said, "Good luck and have a nice life."
Yeah, right. Right.
How much money did you earn when you were in the Navy a month or a week? Do you remember?
When we went in, oh gosh, I'm trying to think. I know we got paid about $30 or $40 a month.
Wow. So they let you go in Virginia. They said, "Find your own way home."
Yeah, they gave us enough money to take a bus home, but then we could do what we wanted. And since I was already gone for 30 months, I thought, shoot, I just might as well hitchhike home. So,
You hitchhiked? What was that like?
oh, they're pretty nice. I met some nice people, picked me up. Back in those days, they'd pick up hitchhikers. It's not like today where everybody's afraid to pick up a hitchhiker.
How long did it take you to get home?
Well, not too long, maybe a week.
Where'd you stay at night?
Oh, I don't know. I stayed somewhere.
But like you were out camping, or you
No.
paid for a place?
No. I'm not really sure, but I know I got home okay.
Were you in your uniform the whole time?
Yes.
I bet were there a bunch of soldiers and sailors all over the country in their uniforms, weren't there?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you got back to Corryville
Yeah.
in Cincinnati.
Right.
Tell us about that. Did someone drop you off at your front door?
Yeah, well, actually, I got my last hitchhike. I got a truck driver somewhere, and he dropped me off in the middle of town.
Of downtown Cincinnati?
Yeah, so I just took a cab home.
What time of day was that? The day or the night?
It was in the evening. It was in the evening.
So what happened? Your parents were there and your brothers, or what?
I only had one brother well, I just knocked on the door, told them I was home.
Were they knowing to expect you soon?
No, I didn't tell them. They knew I was coming home, but they weren't sure when.
So what happened? Who answered the door? Was it your mom or your dad, or do you remember that?
I don't remember. I know we had a dog. He remembered me.
What was your dog's name?
Tippy.
Tippy? So what happened? Were you, did your family throw a party for you, a coming home party, or what was that like?
I don't know, just about, I don't remember any big parties. I'm sure we did have parties, but the family didn't have any parties. I mean,
Well, a lot of soldiers and sailors were coming home, and I think there was a lot of humbleness,
yeah.
and things just weren't, you just. So then, what happened? Did you have a job when you came home, or
No.
what'd you do?
Well, I was supposed to look for a job. If you didn't have a job, the government paid you $20 a week.
Things haven't changed too much.
Yeah.
Just sorry.
He was making $10 a week. He can still
Yeah.
nothing.
And that would last a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what'd you do? Oh, first of all, what rank did you achieve in the service? You were
Second class.
was that called Seaman Second Class,
Uh,
or what was the official, or Engineer Second Class, or
yeah. Machinist Mate.
Machinist Mate
Yeah.
Second Class?
Yes.
Very good. Do you remember anything? Who was your commanding officer, or do you remember that stuff, Mr. Auciello? Who was the captain of that ship?
I don't remember
It's
his
all in
name.
there. Okay.
I don't remember his name,
We'll get it all.
but we didn't like him.
Why not?
I don't know. He was a Southerner,
Mm-hmm.
and he had his cook all cook at Southern food.
Was it Jack Welty?
Huh?
Jack Welty?
Captain Welty?
Lieutenant?
Lieutenant Welty?
I think that was from the other ship that was tied up with us.
Oh, okay.
So, sorry, I skip around. So then what happened? You got a job back home in Cincinnati?
No, I didn't have a job. So, I qualified for, they gave us a battery, the veterans gave us a battery of tests to see what we qualified for. And I qualified for repairing watches.
Really? Kind of like your dad, huh?
Yeah.
So what'd you do then?
So,
After that?
Well, I went to school there. I think it was 9 months, and after I graduated from that, I went to work for one of the big jewelry stores downtown, Newstead's jewelry store.
Oh, Newstead Loring Andrews?
Yes.
Oh, that was a good one.
Yes.
Was that on 4th Street?
It was.
That's a nice one.
They moved to, I think they moved to Hyde Park.
Yeah. So you worked there for how long?
I think 3 years. Then I met my wife.
How'd you meet her?
Well, I met her at a big dance. Maybe you never heard of this, but back then, if you worked for the phone company, you weren't allowed to be married.
Really? No, I did not know that.
Yeah.
If you were a woman.
Yeah.
If you were a man, you could be married and work for the
Yeah.
company.
You couldn't work. You couldn't work. Or you couldn't work for the phone company. And I know I like to tell these young girls out there shocked
Oh yeah.
in this age of independence and all. And
Oh sure. So there was a big dance. What was that dance? Who was sponsoring that dance, or what was the name of that dance?
Bell Telephone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They had all the single girls down there, and then that's where I met my wife.
Was that downtown?
Yeah.
Was that in Coney?
The Topper Club.
The Topper Club?
Yeah.
Downtown?
Yeah.
So you kind of wanted to meet some girl, and so you went to the dance, huh?
Yeah.
Did you go with some friends?
Oh yeah, all guys. All guys.
So what happened? Was it love at first sight, or did your eyes meet from across the room, or?
Well, kinda. It was nice. But actually, she was staying with a friend in, was it crosstown, Western Hills.
Yeah.
And then when we took them home, I asked her where she lived, and she said Glendale. Well, the only Glendale I knew was in California. So I thought, well, the last I see of her. But then her girlfriend had introduced her, said, no. She says, she's just staying with this girl. But she says, no, she lives in town. Well, in town back then, Glendale might as well have been California back 100 years ago.
So what happened? Did you ask for her cell phone number?
No, yeah, her cell phone. Yeah, right. Yeah. No, it took me 3 years to make her settle down.
Very good. So what'd you do after? So she worked at, and what was her name? Lois?
Shirley Lewis.
Shirley Lewis. Okay. Where did she go to high school?
She graduated from the school here, Glendale.
Which Glendale Elementary at the time was K through 12. So you could.
Interesting.
It was the high
Okay,
school.
very good. So after you worked at the jewelry store, what did you do after that, Mr. Auciello?
Well, my future father-in-law, he says, you can't afford my daughter. He says, he worked for Prudential Insurance. He says, I'll get you a job with the insurance company so you make some more money. I said, okay. So I stayed there 30-some years and retired.
That's fabulous. That's fabulous.
He's been retired longer than he worked.
Yeah.
You retired 30 in your when you're in your 60s, I guess, maybe, huh?
I'm 58.
Wow, that's fabulous.
He
And-
retired and she was still in, two of them were still in high
I was
school.
8. No, I was 8 years old.
Oh, you were 8?
I was barely in grade school.
Oh, shit.
So you and your wife raised 8 children. Wow, and this wonderful house here in Glendale. You had a good life together?
I think so.
That's wonderful. Any other? So again, I'm present with 3 of his daughters and his grandson. Is there anything else that you all would like to ask? I can take a few questions, but
When Dad, tell him the story about when you came to live with one of your cousins or something, a rich cousin, and then you were getting ice cream.
Oh, when you were little.
When you were little, you got to stay with, who was that? Was it Mary Metcha or?
Oh. Well, we lived in Lynch, and my mother had to have an operation, so she came up. She went to Good Sam, and we lived in Lynch, and they parceled us all out, and I got lucky. They sent me to live with a family that lived in Avondale. which was really top dollar back then. And they spoiled me like crazy. And I thought it was neat to go to the bathroom at night without getting my feet wet. So yeah, they spoiled me every night to see who got to take me to Grader's for the dime ice cream.
Wow.
It was a dime then.
Wow.
But he said UDF ice cream was how much?
Oh, UDF back then was 3 big scoops for a nickel, like that.
And that's where we met you, was Graders.
Yeah. Yeah, I met you 2 years ago, Mr. Shirley, at Graders. You had that World War II hat.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. And you still got it. Yeah, still got an ice cream too.
Graders are still too expensive for me.
Yes. I bet your wife liked Graders though, huh? She was an expensive lady. No, I'm joking. I would like to ask, what was on board the ship and in the service? Did you work alongside black people?
No blacks.
No blacks at all on the ship?
No, actually there was segregation still going on back then. Yeah, they were either the scullery, did the dishes, or else they worked for the officers.
Were there some black sailors on the ship?
Yes, just 2.
Just 2.
Yeah.
Wow. How many sailors were on your ship? Was it
About 60.
60? So it's okay.
It wasn't a big ship. No, here comes another one now.
There's another daughter present.
Daughter. Hi, how are you? I'm Peg.
Hi, Peg.
I was trying to be really quiet. I don't know what it was.
I do special when you got home from the Navy.
Well, I just wanted to get back into what we were doing before I went into the Navy.
Were you glad that you were in the war? Would you do it again?
To do what?
Would you do it again? Were you glad that you did it?
Were you glad you were in the Navy? Would you do it again?
Oh, I would think so. I would think so, yeah.
Were your brothers in the service?
Well, my one brother was in a merchant marine, and the other brother was too young, and the other one was 4F. Yeah.
Why was he 4F?
Had a heart trouble.
Do you know anybody that died in the war? Any of your friends or anybody from Roger Bacon?
Well, yeah, I knew, I knew several that we went to school with that they died while we were in service, yes.
Any other questions? Sure.
Well, Dad, you had told me that you were glad, there was 2 things you were glad you did, but you'd never want to do them again. And you said the service was 1, the war was 1. You're glad you did it, but you'd never want to do it again.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
How did Grandma and Grandpa meet? Do you know?
My mom and dad, how they meet?
Yeah.
Beats me. I wasn't alive.
How old were they? Were they pretty young when they got married?
No, they were.
I thought their marriage was arranged.
No, I have no idea.
Oh.
I didn't ask silly questions like that.
What was your favorite thing to do on the ship?
The what?
What was your favorite thing to do while you're on the ship?
Mostly stay alive.
Oh, boy.
Did you talk at all about the gunner when we were in Annapolis this past year?
Yeah.
You actually showed me that picture of the gun you actually were in charge of shooting.
Right.
Maybe talk about that experience, like how often you would have to go up there and do that, and how quickly you had to get there when the siren went off.
Well, we went up there every time they blew general quarters. Every time they got wind of airplanes taking off, being anywhere near us. They called general quarters, and then everything stopped till we got to the guns.
And how quick were you supposed to get up there?
As soon as possible. It took me about a half a minute, I think.
Did you ever shoot a plane?
No, I shot at him. I don't think I ever hit one.
Were you ever thrown in the brig? Were any sailors ever thrown in the brig?
Oh, yeah.
What for?
What for? Oh, they throw you in for anything, or just aggravating officers or whatever.
Did you ever get thrown in?
Did I ever get thrown in the brig?
Yeah.
Well, one of them would have, but he says, you're head of the watch. He says, we got to keep the ship moving.
What did you do?
What did I do?
That he wanted to throw you in the brig.
I left my post.
Why?
Well, we had the ship running fine, so I just thought I'd walk around.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Naughty boy. At least you weren't drinking or anything, or
Did anybody drink on the ship?
No, not very often. They try to break into the medicine cabinet to get some of the medicine to make some kind of mixed drink, but it was nasty. It was nasty.
Oh, but Linda, you went to some island or whatever and you were given 2 beers.
Oh yeah, well,
Tell me about that.
yeah, that was a big thing. That was an R&R. If we get onto an island, they would give us 2 beers and put us on this island so we could have some fun, and that was about it.
what would you do? Walk around or go swimming or
Yeah.
hobnob with the natives or what?
Yeah, well, we just walk around and just drink 2 beers. So.
But didn't you sell your beers or something?
Yeah, I traded 1 beer for a gun.
You believe it?
So,
Wow.
That's a good trade.
Yeah.
That's a good
Do
yeah.
you still have the gun?
So I sold them all to Denny finally.
So, what'd you say? Didn't you get rid of your other beer too? I thought you sold 1 for a gun and then you did something with the other one.
Well, maybe I drank it. I don't know.
No, I think you told me something different. Because it surprised me that he got rid of him because he likes beer.
Yeah.
He's Italian. Likes alcohol.
Did you get a grenade too?
Did what?
How did you get that grenade that you had?
I don't know. I picked it up somewhere.
Maybe when you were hitchhiking home.
Well, Mr. Frank Auciello, on behalf of of every American citizen, I really want to thank you for this time together that we've spent, and you shared some wonderful, wonderful memories. But most of all, we want to thank you for serving our country so long ago. And we owe a lot. We have a great debt to your generation and to people like you. And you went on then, after your duty, to help this, to make this country the greatest country in the world by raising a wonderful family and wonderful children. And so we just really want to thank you, and God bless you.